Tonight, Venus forms a trine with Mars, so we're talking about Venus activation and what that means. And I'm answering all your questions with live readings coming up right now.
Does it look like a Devin or David?
David is his name. It's been so spot on.
And I don't know if you put it in the side of your end table or not. You like there's something in your end table that you this too.
My God, you're crazy.
Yeah.
You might be hard on your right knee when you're running. Make sure you're not too hard on the right knee.
100%.
Okay.
Honey, I'm a runway walker. Okay.
I don't know what she's showing me flowers. Like, relay them or redo them. These purple flowers.
Oh my God, Scott, the flowers are right there. My orchids are purple. They completely are dead.
Yeah.
Did you even know? You nailed
100%.
everything, every single thing. Listen, everyone, this guy.
Tell me something that he told you that came true.
Everything he's predicted has come true.
I just don't see it.
Who doesn't have cancer?
It's very possible.
Camera's psychic, who first questioned Brooke's cancer.
Scott Cruz.
Oh, there you
know
are.
his last
You
name.
won.
You better question yourself. We're here to bring enlightenment, not confusion.
You might encounter negative aspects of self, but that's a freeing experience.
Because then they start realizing that they can't think outside the box. And I say, if you can't think outside the box, then who's the stupid one here? The solution for me is awakening people to the bull.
I agree.
People need to stop being deterred by nonsense. You gotta summon the people.
I don't just come on here and talk or parrot. I'm living it.
In harmony with nature, in a mystical adventure, we're building on the
Happy Thursday Night Live, everyone. Welcome to the Cruisy Verse. How y'all doing? So tonight, Venus forms a trine with Mars. So what are we talking about tonight? Venus activation. So how to get that seduction action in going, how to get that passion going, how to get that creativity flowing, right? Because Venus is all about that love, romantic energy, connection. But behind that is all about engaging, actually. So I was saying the two words at once. So that's what it's about. We'll get into that with the topic. And so this week we're in Gemini season, which started on the 20th. So I personally feel a little bit of a push, a movement starting to occur because it's been sluggish for the past couple of weeks. And so, as I said, May will be the month of movement. Things will start moving in May. And I definitely do feel that, even though it's like mid to almost late May. But I've been feeling even that movement, even though I've been physically tired, movement psychologically, like questioning, what do I want to do next? How do I want to do, my next venture? And so all that formalization of, trying to like steer that ship of where it's going. So definitely movement and thought and creation. I was talking to another friend of mine who's also a light worker, and she was pondering the same thing, actually. Like, what's my next step? What's my next, endeavor and expression? So get that in gear. And crypto, actually, as my partner came in saying, oh, look, crypto is at his all-time high. I think it was at 106 or something. I don't know. But he's heavily involved in the crypto. And so it's been an all-time high. So we've seen that shoot up. So don't believe everything you're hearing. Okay. The political theater, depending on whatever side it is, it's a political theater. Get us all panicked and glued to the television sets. What's happening next? You guys are in control of my life. Don't buy all that shit. Psychically, I've been saying that we're not heading toward a recession. Things will surprisingly boost up, and so it's good to see that even with crypto. So the markets will start doing the same thing in time. So don't be trepidatious, okay? And so allow yourself to keep moving forward and moving forward your endeavors. Anyways, let's see who's chatty Cathy in the room, shall we? If I can find my friggin' overlays over there. Who's coming in? Jennifer Cruz, my mother. What's up? Mother's in the house. David Cruz in the house. Mother and father. Look at that. First ones. Well, actually, it's the first ones I can see since I joined the live. I don't know who's chatting before I came on. Brenna Zwett, good to see you. Alma Ford, hello. Our wonderful mom Nina is in the room, so she will help you out. If you want to get a question in, it's $15 for a card pull, $20 for one question, $30 for two questions, and $40 for a live video with me. The PayPal and Venmo links are in the description. If you have any questions, please, Nina will help and assist you on that. And the live video is only if you have Venmo. I cannot do the PayPal because Venmo, I need to respond to your inquiry with the link to call in. So So Nina will help you with that as well. Christina Noel, I need a one-on-one with Scott Baby. One-on-one, yeah. So this is like one on how many people are watching or come on watching. A lot of people have been watching. I've been noticing a lot of people have been watching after the fact. People have been sluggish past couple weeks. People had a lot of shit going on. So that I haven't been making it live, but I've been seeing them coming through after the fact. So all is good, right? Iggy, can't you see, is in the house. Honey mustard, Scotty. But I love honey mustard. I don't know what you mean by saying that, but I freaking love honey mustard. And I just put that on my burger that I made today. So I love honey mustard. Ceciliana Flodite. Sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. Welcome aboard. Darby Mabry, always a pleasure to see you. Ketra's Oracle Magic Tarot, good to see you. Ketra says, Scott answered a couple questions for me last week instead of a live read, and I asked about my ankle. He was right. You're right. It does have a small tear. Great. Fantastic. Let's hope we can get that healed, though. Okay. And yes, when you have a 2 p.m. with me tomorrow, 101. Look forward to that. It's great. So we'll speak tomorrow. Fantastic. Good to see you. Erica, good to see you. Welcome aboard, my love. It's been nice to see you. Hopefully we can create a character today. Eric and I create characters in our live shows. So good to see you, my love. Kristen Villaro. I miss Scott and Nina. I've been barely making it to these. My schedule. Oh, well, so there you go. Another one that's been very hectic, but that's a good thing. Busy is good. Okay. Lisa Cruz, my sister from the same Mista. Welcome aboard. James Porterfield, what's going on? Who else? I'm just kind of reading. Abby Coe, good. Welcome aboard. Horses Trigger Hope. Thursday Nights Do Rock, thank you. Dressing the seduction part tonight. Okay, awesome. Tommy Garassi, good to see you. Kate Yo, Noel Way, my sister from another Mista, good to see you. Abby Co, again, I'm just going down the chat. Rashida, great to see you. It's good to see you live. You made it this time. Great, the time allowed to do so. Rhonda, good to see you. Larissa Allen, Daryl Blankenship, long time no see. Sheesh. Ron G, good to see you as well. Armageddon, and those you watching I cannot see. I can only see who's chatting in the room. Just want to give some acknowledgments, and at some point in the future, I will have to speed up that part. Let's get into the collective read, shall we? Those of you who are new, I do start with the collective read. I do utilize tarot and oracle cards as an inspiration. I don't need the cards. I'm a psychic medium. It can read the energy for what it is, but it's more of the guidance and to ease up on my energy because reading can be very taxing. So, got to find ways to also help with that. So, let's shuffle these cards and see what's going on here. Usually it's week to week sometimes because the weeks get so redundant and repetitive. All right, we have to, maybe just bring up a topic or an idea. So we'll see what the topic is today. Give me a couple seconds. Let's shuffle. I should probably put some music on, like shuffling music. I should put in cue for next time. But let's see. These cards are a little tough. I know when they're tough, there's a little bit of a... Yeah, there's... these are tough. The energy is a little... You guys need to loosen up. It feels like here. Because when these cards are this hard to shuffle, I know the energy is very tight. But we'll see what we have to say here. Okay, I think we're pretty good. Go figure. Okay, and let me just get these oracle cards coming. It's interesting because I will show you the card too in a moment, how the topic is Venus activation. And obviously this would be for more spiritually inclined people. And whoever's attracted to this message will be more for spiritually inclined, not so much those who are not. Yeah, I can't help it. It just does it on its own, the hair that just falls down. I don't do that on purpose. I put my hair back, it keeps falling down. I just stop fighting it. My dad's saying. I can't. I put leave-in conditioner, and it just keeps flopping down. So I just said, I embrace it. It wants to do its thing. Okay. Awesome. Okay. Interesting. Give me a couple of seconds. Let me tune in to start this. Okay. All right. Devil card, first position, right? The devil card is all about pleasure. And it's funny because the oracle card also came in the first position about pleasure. Let's talk about that. So many guys are so into this spiritual conquest, or so many guys are into this modality of like overthinking. So I think a lot of people are overthinking whether or not they're being spiritually focused or not, but they're overthinking in the sense of, I gotta get this done, I gotta do this, and what they're not doing, or they're not thinking, and they're kind of in this state of just blah energy, because that's also burnout from overthinking. But there's no pleasure behind that. So there's nothing wrong with actually focusing on the pleasures of life in a sense of what kind of makes you passionate, right? And because even the things that make you passionate that you might not think will lead you somewhere could actually lead you somewhere. So it is time now to start diving deep into those passions, into the physicality of what you're desiring, not so much the fluffy duffy or the expectations that you think you're supposed to accomplish in life based on what other people are telling you, based on what religion's telling you, based on what the new age communities are telling you, right? These are all ideas that you don't have to grasp on, right? But sometimes you stay stuck in your head or stay stuck in the modality of trying to be spiritual, that you're actually not engaging or expressing the actual innate desires that you have on the physical levels. That's important because, you could be as spiritual as you want, but if you don't eat food, you're not going to survive. Oh, well, I'll just focus on, good health, but you're depriving yourself of food. Well, you're not going to be healthy. So we can be fluffy duffy in the clouds, but we somehow have to merge that with the physical expression. But the physical desires are like the roadmap to the direction of what you're trying to express in your life. Many people try to deprive themselves, especially when we're talking about Venus, of their sexual expressions. And because they're depriving themselves, they're placing judgment on their sexual expressions, they're not allowing themselves to evolve their sexual perspective, their sexual expressions at all. And so they stay stuck in deprivation. And they'll try to find other things to coincide or to fulfill that sexual deprivation, but it never quite hits the spot, in a sense. The G spot, the God spot, right? Doesn't quite hit the spot, right? So we have to understand, it's okay to allow ourselves to explore the density. It's okay to allow ourselves to explore this physicality and see where it leads us, right? So many people, or so many children, kids, they're so interested in video games. The parents are like, will you stop playing those fucking video games? And, and they don't realize what is about the video games that the child is interested in, right? They might just like the strategy of it. So they can look beyond and find out what the video games are actually bringing that out of the child that they're interested in, and push them into a pathway that the physical desire and the physical expression could actually turn to something more valuable. More, I would say passionate in a sense, right? A lot of children I've seen that were interested in video games actually become video game creators or encoders or designers, right? Because they just enjoyed the expression and the uniqueness of the video games. And some became builders and architects, right? So we can look beyond what you want physically, and the goal is to want to express it, to evolve it and put more passion behind it, and find the passion that's laying behind these physical desires, and then understanding the balance, because the hangman is all about kind of a spiritual awakening, but it's also like a pause, right? It's like flipping things in upside down. It's also speculative energy, kind of like observation. But it's funny that these cards came after us too, but that's what brings balance. You should analyze. I enjoy these physical things. I enjoy these kind of dense desires, but what does that bring to me intellectually? What does that bring to me spiritually? Where's balance in all that? How can I take that further and turn it into something? And that could be, you can turn it into a career, something that actually generates money or income, right? So that's where you start creating more movement for yourself without judgment. But this is where you find the wisdom, right? Wisdom is buried deep inside your own expressions. I'll say it again. Wisdom is buried inside your own expressions, not somebody else's expressions, not how somebody else tells you to express, not how somebody else tells you to live your life or to communicate. It actually lies deep within your own experiences and expressions. So by depriving or withholding yourself from expressing those innate desires, right? The physical desires, you're depriving yourself of more wisdom. Because we're here in the physical world to express and to play and to experience, right? We're here to get our hands dirty, so to speak, that I like to say. So if you're not doing that, you're just living in the clouds, you're not progressing, you're not evolving, right? So make sure you're hitting that G spot, right? The God spot in you, right? And, everything is in the physical sense is an expression for the soul. It's a reason for the soul to express. So if those of you have been focusing on more of a sexual expression or feeling sexually deprived or intimately deprived, there's an expression that your soul is trying to conquer. And so explore it. of course, by balance doesn't mean you're going out being a prostitute or whore, or going on OnlyFans and selling your body. My partner just showed me an article of a woman who had a goal on OnlyFans to sleep with 587 dudes in 6 hours, and she's in the hospital. It's like, yeah, that's not quite balanced. That's just stupidity, and obviously she's not enjoying it if she's overindulging. See, an overindulgence or an addiction is not enjoyment, right? It's a void that's trying to be filled. And that's not really looking at the void, right? When you're trying to overcompensate. So understand the differences between overcompensation, addiction, overindulgence versus expressing an innate desire. Big difference. Because many people are afraid of hopping into their desires, even if because it might be very physical in a sense, that they're afraid that it might turn into overindulgence or an addiction. That's only if you're trying to fill a void. That's only if you're trying to overcompensate for something. Right? And so when you come from perspective that you're not doing that, then you can evolve those expressions. And I find a lot of people, especially in this country, especially with the karmic makeup that we all have collectively, there's a lot of sexual repression energy in our society. And that's obvious because of how people are overly sexualizing things, right? How they're overly sexualizing themselves, or like putting on the plastic because they don't feel sexually attractive enough based on what the standard is, right? So there's an issue here. So we all have to learn what it's like to have that passion and that sexual expression and that charisma. Because charisma comes from passion. Charisma comes from focus. Charisma comes from, excitement and engagement. Right? And that is the art of seduction. So actually the collective read is kind of coinciding with activating Venus energy. And what is that Venus energy? Right? That Venus energy is all about seduction, passion, love, creativity, right? Beauty. And of course, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. It's always subjective to the individual, but it's up to you to create the life of beauty the way you see fit, not how other people see fit, not how religion sees fit, not how mom or dad sees it fit, how you see fit. And it's on you to express that layer of beauty, because imagine if everyone did that without any type of reservation in their own perspective what beauty is. Just think how more dynamical our world would be. Right now, unfortunately, people are not using that passion. They're not using that seduction. They're just repeating what everybody else is doing. Right? These TikTok trends, all these people do just like copying themselves, repeating the same trend of a video. There's no originality behind it. They're just being, we call it the sheeples, right? I mean, we've heard it a lot of times in both aspects of politics, the sheeples. There's no originality. There's no substance behind it. There's no engagement. There's no passion. So it's just flat, right? So in order to bring the activation, to activate that Venus energy, you got to first think outside the box. And what layer and level of beauty do you want to add onto your life right now? What does that look like? What does it feel like? What does it sound like, right? And so understand that extra layer of beauty and how to beautify things and how to add beauty to things is really the key, is a power here, because we talk about self-love all the time, and the spiritual communities and self-help communities, self-love, and people are just like, but I don't love myself, or I don't like what I see in the mirror. And so they get wrapped up in the fact that they don't love themselves now. And I say repetitively, you have to put love into it, put love into your appearance, put love into your well-being. That's a different aspect of looking at stuff. So same thing with beauty. Create that layer of beauty you want to create for your life. And that can be expressed in so many different ways. It could be through your appearance. It could be through your home. It could be through how you're actually adding that layer of beauty through the work, and how you put that beauty through your conversations and how you communicate with people, and having a great layer of finesse to your communication, add a beauty to that. So we want to start looking at the different dynamics of what we're already doing and adding that layer of beauty and passion to it. And excuse me. There are so many things that we do on default that we have to do day to day that we're not allowing ourselves to put passion or excitement in or love into, which then deprives us of navigating outside of our mundane circumstances, because we're not seeing beyond the mundane circumstances. If, for example, you start putting love into things you're doing repetitively, guess what happens? Another idea will spawn from that. Like another, hey, look here, or look at this opportunity there's a job, or, go to that farmer's market and have fun, get those fresh fruits that you're looking for. And then boom, you meet a person, a partner, right? There's so many different avenues of where things can happen if you're putting the beauty, you're putting the love into what you're already doing. And I say this, and it sounds simple, but so many guys are making it so difficult because you're asking yourselves and saying to yourselves, what else do I need to be doing? It's like there's nothing else that you need to be doing. There's nothing else that you have to be doing. You're not the things that you're doing now. You're not doing correctly. How about changing the modality and changing the way you're expressing what you're doing currently? That's the change. That's the light. And so, seduction. Where does seduction really come from? And what is seduction really? Now, most people think of seduction as an energy of where, the first thing comes to mind is a woman being very seductive and physically attractive, using her body to allure men, right? That's kind of the generalization of seduction. But seduction has so many different layers and expressions to it, right? Seducing doesn't always have to be manipulative. Seducing can just be you're attracting, right? You're connecting, you're being engaged, because at the end of the day, seduction, no matter what, you have to have an experience and an expertise of knowing how to engage, but also engaging with the things that you find pleasurable, the things that you find of interest, and applying your engagement to such. And then nurturing, showing attention, allowing yourself to play with it more, right? And have a little more fun with it. That takes some time and patience, but also takes some engagement and focus. That's seduction. And also allowing yourself to feel the true energy behind what you're doing and what you're participating in, that's seduction, right? And especially when we're in our essence and in our actual modality, our own unique modality. Again, the one that you choose, not the ones your mom and dad choose, not the one religion has chosen, not the one that school has chosen, not the one that politics have chosen, the one you've chosen. People love that originality, that creativity, and it brings people in. It starts attracting people who are looking for something different, something original, something unique, and you start seducing and bringing in, attracting those types of beings. And so that type of essence in your life, right? So, and there's a confidence behind seduction, right? And that confidence means you're just more comfortable with something. Because some of you are trying to develop a confidence, like, I'm just not confident enough. It's like, well, then you're not comfortable enough with something. The more you allow yourself to be comfortable with something, the confidence is a result of such. So whatever you're desiring, those physical desires, get comfortable with your physical desires. Get comfortable with the things that you want to engage and participate in. Your confidence will be a natural result of such, and then you can take it further. And that's where persuasion, seduction really manifests, because it's passion. It's a focus. It's an honesty, right? Because one thing about seduction, and one thing about even attraction and love energy, there's an honesty behind all of it. So ask yourselves this. Are you just pacifying your time right now? Are you just pacifying yourselves with just like the mundane, just trying to get by? Is that passion? Is that seduction? Well, I just got to do my 9 to 5. I just come home, do the same old thing. And yeah, I would love to do that endeavor, but I don't know if I can do that. Is that passion? Is that expansive? Is that going to evolve into something new and fresh? Right? And so the easy way to start this, like I said before, is to put passion into what you're already doing. Give love and nurture into what you're already doing. Because that Venus energy is all about acceptance too. Accepting where you're at and adding that layer of beauty to it. And finding the beauty within what you already are and what you already are in or at in your spiritual walk, so to speak. Right? So these are the things you want to understand, because right now this society is lacking passion. This society is full of anger and consumption. That's the reality we live in currently. Anger and consumption, and just copying people, right? And fighting against people. Oh, you don't see like the things I want to see things. You don't see things the same way, and just constant bickering, which shows again a lack of self-confidence, but also it shows a lack of self-empowerment when you're too busy focusing on what other people are doing. Let's keep that simple. If you find yourself doing that, and a lot of people using news and politics as an excuse to not focus on themselves, focus on what everybody else is doing, that they're still missing the point. They're still depriving themselves of actual beauty, expression. So take it as far as you can. And it doesn't mean you have to be a wacko, crazy, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs individual, but you have to somehow break down your own modality of thinking in order to see the beauty in the life, to see more how to expand more on that beauty and that original essence of intimacy. Because intimacy, again, now you have to understand the true nature of seduction, and that's like, again, focus, engagement, passion, playful energy. Right? Then you understand how to nurture. You understand how to be very much passionate, to be creative, to actually have more fun with what you're doing. Right? So there's nothing so overly mystical about this. But it's really understand to bring the essence of Venus, to understand we need to start bringing that into our lives now. Be more creative about how we're doing things already. We hear creative all the time. Create your reality, be creative. And it's like people are like, but I don't have a creative bone in my body. It's like, we're not talking about artistic creation. But if you start looking at the things that you're doing now and find ways to be creative with what you're already doing, so many of you parents out there, are in a position to where they're just like bored being a parent. It's like, why don't you try being a parent in a creative way and express being a parent in a more creative way? Have more fun with it. Because at one point you wanted to be that parent. All of a sudden now you're bored with it. You're bored with it because you're not being creative about it anymore. And, that's why you don't feel passionate about things any longer, because you've gone through the mundane. And most of the times you crave things because you want the circumstance, you got the circumstance, but then you realize, oh, I got the circumstance, but I'm not enjoying the experience of this. Right? And when you're not enjoying the experience of it, you've lost the fact of applying your passion. You've lost your fact of applying your excitement. You lost the fact of applying things that really matter, that bring that essence of engagement, focus, and honesty to the picture. And a lot of people just want to be a parent because they say, oh, it'd be nice to be a mom, but they don't want to really understand the process, what it's like to be a mother and motherhood. So many of you guys have that situation. You want to be a mom, just the fact to be a mom and just want to check that box, but you actually have not enjoyed the state of motherhood. Same thing with wanting a relationship, a boyfriend or a girlfriend. Oh, it's good in the mind, the idea to be in a relationship. It's great to have that partnership and someone who loves me. Oh, there's someone who wants to accept me and loves me. But then when you get that and you realize, oh, wait a minute, the act of relationship and being a boyfriend or a girlfriend or a wife or a husband, you're not understanding what that's like. You're not actually focused and passionate about the actual expression, just the circumstance. And that's where you feel unfulfilled, unhappy. So we got to stop looking at the circumstances. It's easy to create circumstances, but it takes engagement to actually make those circumstances and expressions expressive. So with that said, ask yourselves, are you just like dragging yourself out or burning yourself out because you checked a condition, you want to get a condition, you checked that box, but you actually really don't enjoy the expression of it? There are ways you can start enjoying the expression of it, but you first have to ask your question. Yeah, I got that job, but I don't enjoy it anymore. But I'm just like dragging it out because I wanted it at one point. Are you evolving from it? Are you putting passion to what you want next? Because if you're dragging it out, perhaps you haven't allowed yourself to evolve from that and taking the next step. That's another question to ask yourself. Because if there's no passion, there's no excitement, you're actually living in deprivation. And that becomes a very repetitive hamster wheel cycle. A lot of people stay in, they don't get out because they're afraid of changing their conditions. Well, I got this condition, but I don't know what the next conditions are. And I don't know if I can manifest the next conditions. And so I don't know what to do. It's like, sit with yourself and ask yourself, what are you really passionate about? And it has to start on the simple levels of passionate about even just scenarios that aren't circumstantial, things that are just like essences. I'm passionate about just being free. Okay, we'll start about freedom. What are ways you could express freedom and start building from there? I'm passionate about connecting with people. Okay, we'll start from there. You're passionate about connecting with people, so how can you express that? And that's how you start finding and expressing and unraveling that passion and start turning it into a physical language or a physical expression. But too many times, and this is why people lack passion, why people are in a consumption mode, because they make life a to-do list. They make life a to-do list. Oh, I gotta get married, and I gotta get this job, and I have to have this income, and I have all this, I need the numbers, and here, and they start checking those boxes, but like, okay, but the actual, expressions that have been checked don't bring any type of excitement or pleasure because you're not experiencing or expressing anything. And that's the deprivation. Your goal should be like, what do I want to express? How do I want to become a different expression? And what experiences do I want to obtain? And what type of expressions do I want to nurture and go through? What are those expressions? So, like I said before, some people want to be a mom, but we're not passionate about actual motherhood. Right? So, and try to fit that into any circumstances that you're in. Are you really passionate about that job choice that you're trying to select? I've seen a lot of people that have jobs and careers that they thought would be good for them to make money, but they're not passionate about it. So they spend like 10, 15 years in it, and by the time they're 45, 50 years old, like, I got to do something else. I need a new career. What's next for me? It's like, so quickly ready to change that condition, right? Instead of realizing where the passion derives from. And say, what expression do you want to nurture? What expression do you want to play out? That's where people are. Those people like me. I'm very passionate about everything because I'm engaged with things that are honest for me. I'm being honest with things that I enjoy. I'm honest with myself as far as how I want to express my being. I come from that honesty of self first, and I engage with things that I find interesting, that I enjoy, that I wish to express, that I wish to involve in. So therefore, yes, I'm always passionate. I'm not phoning it in. Right? And whenever time I feel in my life I'm phoning something in, just like kind of going with the motions, I'm like, it's time for a change. How do I want to evolve this? Let's put more passion into the growth of such. That's Venus energy, baby. And finding creative ways to create the different layers of beauty in your circumstances of what you already have and where you're coming from. So many people think creating beauty and creating a new life means they have to do something completely different. When most of you guys just have to do what you're doing differently. It's not about creating something different, but doing what you're doing now differently. And that's what many people are missing right now and why they feel stuck. And you've missed the passion. You've missed the excitement of what drew you into the circumstance to begin with. Go back to that state, evolve from there, and find new ways of expressing it or putting love into your current expression. Watch how life will change. Watch how life will change. Because when you live in that energy, look at all these dumb celebrities that are revered, that people just like idolize. Why? Because these celebrities are living in their essence. They're doing whatever the fuck they want to do. And be like, oh my God, and they start crying, they fall out. I mean, we look at those people like, oh, those people are fucking pathetic. They revere these celebrities. Oh my God, need your autograph. It's like, those people obviously are not living, their dreams, or they're inspired by them because they want to be that energy, right? But and that's why you see most of these celebrities treat their fans like shit, because they don't care. They're not doing it for the fans. They're doing it because this is what I want to do. This is how I want to live my life. So fuck off, right? And so people are like, oh my God, I love you, right? But that energy, it seduces people. When you give someone a different perspective, when you give someone an original point of view, people are drawn to that. People are drawn to that essence of freeing of self-expression. And I pity today's generation because they don't have any of that. Today's generation is all about just repetition, copycat. It's a little pathetic, actually. They're lacking passion. They don't know what passion is. And I blame their parents, who is basically our generation, who's created that. Because we had to focus on survival, right? Our generation, or the generations older than me, actually. So bring the passion back in. And those of you who have children, let your children express what they're passionate about and find out what's really driving them home and how they can turn it into something valuable. A lot of parents are, they're into this and they don't want a relationship right now. I said, well, they don't need a relationship. Because you think they want a relationship means it doesn't mean that they're going to be happy. They don't want one. Let them find their own beauty and their own passion, their own expression. Same thing with your friends or your mom and dad or whoever you're concerned about. Let them find their own passions on their own. And let that be beautiful in its own right. At the end of the day, we are here to express our own individual purpose and voice and heart and soul expression, not to mimic or mock. And once you find your individual soul expression and you allow it to come through and you say fuck off to everybody else who has an opinion about it, you'll find those who actually appreciate it and find value in it, and that'll also cause them to also evolve. And that's how things create value in the society and how money generates. Because when people find something valuable, they spend money on it, right? So, this is what we talk about as far as evolution, about passion, creativity, excitement, pleasures, right? And so let's not get it twisted. The things we find pleasurable in the physical reality is giving us an expression of the soul. But we want to also make sure that we're not getting caught up in the trap of the physical expression and more about the expression of how the soul wants to express it. And then we find beauty in almost everything that we do and participate in. It's a natural thing. And that's really the art of seduction. It becomes playful. You start to play with things. You give it time. You don't need things now all freaking time, because we're finger fucking the screen, like I always say, just trying to get the climax of a content. I need a content climax. What's gonna make me like drawn in now? It's not that. Nope. And then they never find that, actually. Right? You don't spend time in that because you're actually you're seducing life. You're being playful. You're engaging. You don't need things at the moment, so you understand the engagement and the nurturing aspect and component of life, and so therefore everything becomes very energetic and very passionate. There's a charm behind that you develop, but there's no charm behind I need it now. I need a boyfriend now. I'm alone. There's no charm behind that. There's no charm behind I don't know what to do. I hate my job, and when is my boyfriend coming back? Like, there's no charm in that. There's no seduction in that. It's all deprivation. Until you allow yourself to understand how to nurture and put the beauty within the self, and to preserve the self beauty and the self preservation of creativity and passion and what you truly are passionate about, and allow that to be expressed, you become the seducer of society. You play with society. You have it wrapped in your fingertips, right? And so let's not take seduction in a negative context. And just like we say when we manipulate energy, that's not a negative thing either. Manipulating reality, manipulating energy is could be a joyful, wonderful thing too. So sometimes we put so much negative context into this, these words. Don't. So again, to wrap that up, is focus on what is those physical desires now, and look at the physical expression, but look behind the expression. Ask yourself, what is the actual energy I'm looking for? I want a relationship because I want to be validated. Well, you need validation, but relationship is not the great way to get validation from people or from anybody else. It's freaking flop. It's coming down as I look at the thing. So ask yourself this, and then look behind that, because you might say, well, if I need validation, perhaps I just need to put more emphasis into my work, into my creative endeavors, and boom, you get, validation that way. And you realize, I actually don't really want a relationship. I actually want to be single. You might recognize that because sometimes you guys are chasing the wrong physical expressions, and that keeps you stuck. What are you really trying to express? And again, to end that, know thyself, okay? And be honest. Come with honesty, not with reservation, not with sugarcoating, not with trying to duplicate what someone else is doing. We have enough of that shit going on. People duplicating shit. It's annoying. It's obnoxious, and it's like the intelligence level has significantly dropped because no one is like doing anything like remotely original and unique, right? Or they're just buried just with their fingers, or those who are playing video games are just buried in video games, not really doing much, and then they turn 40 and 50 years old and they realize, where'd my life go? I need to do something. Then they call psych and say, what's next in my life? I've been playing video games for 60 years. It's like, well, got a lot of work to do. The equal amount of time you ignored it is the equal amount of time you have to do to create something new. So remember this. Do not perpetuate or prolong the deprivation. Get a hold of it now. All right? Let's move on to the live readings. Nina, when are we getting card pulls from you? Messages. I know Nina's been going through some burnout. I was going through some burnout too. I'm starting to get my burnout, get it over my burnout. So I was like minimizing my schedule a little bit. But we need more. I need a break because Nina would give me a nice break, Nina. So next week, Nina, can you do that? Can you give us a message for next week? Because it's a nice break before I go into the live readings and stuff. So give me a couple of seconds to gather and see what we got here. I'm trying to nail these out. Right, Nina? Wasn't the burnout real? Okay, can we take this and just do that? See what I'm saying? I put conditioner, the poof is eyed, whatever. I just got annoyed of it. We had winds today, and I had it slick back, and it was just all coming down. And I says, obviously my hair has a spirit, and the spirit wants to flop. So I got a floppy spirit in the hair. So, okay. Anybody else? What is he talking about? So where's your twin flame? I know, Iggy. Where's your twin flame? Right? Your twin flame is in a pizza box. Okay. Okay. First question is from Danny S. Is my job secure? Thank you. Okay. Very, very simple question. Let's see. Oh, Iggy. I smashed it harder than you. Oh, I will not comment. No comment on that. Okay, is my job secure? No one's job is secured, by the way. Let's just start there. I'll pull a card on that too. Because everyone thinks that when they work in corporate world that they think their job is secure. It's like, people get laid off all the time, so your job ain't secure. That's why I don't work for myself, because my job is secure at corporate world. It's like, no, it ain't. Illusion. You're lying to yourselves. So your job is more secure when you work for yourself, because you get to dictate when you work, don't work, and get clients or not clients, and you get to dictate if you need to expand or not expand. So let's just get that straight. So when you ask me that question, I maybe need to help you to understand the logic behind. If you work for a job, work for somebody else, the job is never secured. Just saying. Let's get out of that thinking. This is not really 100% predictable, I would say, but there does seem to be like restructuring going on, or some sort of, there's a lot of anxiety going on there. And I feel like there's a lot of people that may be let go, or a lot of people being let go in a sense too. So, I get a 50-50 energy, so it feels like it's possible that, you know, it might interfere with your job. So it feels kind of secure, but not really in that sense. So not everything's black and white all the time. So in this case, I do feel like there'll be another opportunity anyway, you know, to move forward and to move on. So, but it feels like there's a potential that you might not have that job security with this position. But it's 50-50 though. Because I don't think whoever's looking at your positioning has made a decision yet, or has, you know what I mean? So I can only read the current energy, so I don't know how they're going to make a decision on that based on your performance and what they need and what they're trying to cut and what they're trying to restructure, all that stuff that coincides with it. So my advice on that would be like, start thinking outside the box. What can bring you more security, or the illusion of security, so to speak? And I would definitely start looking outside of your current job too. I feel like there might be another opportunity coming about. You know, I feel like to urge, like, consider another company or consider another connection, okay? But that question is not so yes or no, actually. But the question itself is very revealing because, again, you want a position that no matter what, you feel security in your own right, that you have control over. But it feels 50-50. I still feel like something could interfere. Like I said before, I'm just repeating myself at this point because there's no additional information. But I do feel like another opportunity to pull you in another direction. Probably even more money, too. So, Kathleen, today's my birthday. Happy birthday. And would appreciate any wisdom from the divine on this. Well, it's going to come from me because I'm the channel of the divine. Right? But yes, I get what you're saying. On the divine, on this next season of my life and the next adventure around the sun. Thank you, Scott. You've been such a blessing for me and so many. Oh, you're so sweet. Any wisdom? I mean, I can go on long with that question, but simplistically, because of the format. Okay, you want some divine wisdom, Kathleen? Don't look back. Okay, that's what I heard. Don't look back, because I think that, you know, the change you're mentioning, like what I interpret that and read it to be, is very much emotional and more self-preserving. You know, being more in self-preservation, and less of caretaking others. Right. So don't look back. And I think that you might be, and the reason for saying this, because you might be saying, oh, I'm moving forward, but this person, don't do that. Just don't look back. There's nothing to overcomplicate with that either. So don't look back. Make sure you are being future focused and understanding that it needs to be this essence chapter in your paradigm needs to be really more focused on you, not anybody else, because you've been having an issue with that. Simple. Nothing overly mystical, nothing overly complicated. And I love to be philosophical, but sometimes people's like, this ain't philosophical. It's just that. It's just as simple as don't look back, and understand what the really essence of what that truly means of not looking back. It means that you're not reconsidering. It doesn't mean you're letting anybody have to pull you back into another direction. It means that you're not like trying to like fix things that already has occurred. You're moving forward. That's what they want you to understand. Okay. Everything else of what comes from that expression, let that be part of your journey, part of your own experience moving forward. There needs to be mystery, right? Especially with Danny, last question. I feel like, you know, the Spirit sometimes says that there needs to be a little mystery. There needs to be anticipation and reconsideration. So let there be a little mystery right now. And this will go for Danny too as well. Let there be a little mystery so you can have more reconsideration in your life. So getting a read doesn't always mean that you have to understand what is the outcome. Sometimes there's no outcome rendering at the moment. And sometimes what you have to do is readjust and reconsider, reconfigure. And that's the point, right? And that's where the block is. If you're not reconfiguring, then that's your block. And then nothing's happening. And there's nothing, you're not getting over to the other side of your trajectory or to the future. So redirect, reconfigure. That is the point for both you and Kathleen, and don't look back. Okay. So there's a little bit of a blending there. Can we take this? Watch. Let's see how long it stays up there. Is that better? My dad said it drives him nuts. Some people's hair does that. Okay. Kristen. Okay. I nanny currently, yes. What are the parents' feelings towards me? I don't know if I should move on or not from them and pursue other things. And I love you. Well, I love you too. First of all, I think that here's the thing. They appreciate you, but I'm trying to format this so I don't say it in a way that, because I feel like they appreciate you, but they don't appreciate you enough, right? So I think they like take you for granted in a sense, not in a bad way. You know what I'm saying? But kind of like, yeah, she does, but she's supposed to. And so it just feels that energy. Not so much, I appreciate her. You know what I'm saying? It's none of that good energy, I feel like, in that sense. Or so I just feel like there's not a rewarding type of behavior. There's not a behavior where she feels like that she's gonna like appreciate it. It's like, well, that's your hard to do, so you're doing it. Okay, good, nothing to consider. It's like, but you could still appreciate the fact that someone's doing their job, because maybe people wouldn't do their jobs, or maybe people would do it incorrectly or have mistakes, and especially being a nanny is a very important part. So I think you should think about moving on. I feel like it's not so much that you're worried about job security like the other individual Danny was asking, but I think that I think it's time to move on. Like, I think it's time to look for something else, an additional, because the appreciation levels are just not occurring. It's not happening. And I think you'll find another way of going about it. Right. And have more time for your more creative expressions, and even tapping into like, not even just nannying anymore, but it's like maybe nurturing, getting into some sort of, I hate this term, but I'm just gonna say it for lack of better terminology, more life coach aspect of things, helping people one-on-one, but I think that you'll find another opportunity that's equally paying, but and not that I think that you're going to get out of doing nannying right away. Like, it just the opportunity itself just feels like it's holding you back, but you'll find something to replace it. Like, I would not advise, like, leave it and then, well, we'll see what's going to happen. Don't ever be so foolish like that either, because part of being spiritual and manifesting you want is not being foolish. So, allow yourself to be wise. Say, well, I am projecting out. I'm not questioning this any longer. It's time to move on. I want to start focusing more of my own personal endeavors that I want to be focusing on, and that's it, right? And so once you do, then you'll start seeing other opportunities. And you can, if you have this once you've had this level of income, then you can require that for your next opportunity. So this is what my pay. This is what I require. So that it gave you experience to demand the same next time around, right? But I look first, consider first, and find something that's flexible, that also has light on energy, so you can also be expressive in your other talents and skill sets too. Because at the end of the day, the nannying aspect, the way you're doing it, is not going to be forever. Like, you're going to evolve that into other things, and that will require a full session on. But just for us to be specific on the question, I definitely see you getting out of that, and I don't see it being any longer. And you'll find something equal pay, and you won't have to be depriving yourself of pay. Okay. Whatever it is, but you're finding jobs, right? So whatever you're doing now, it's jobs, okay. But remember, like I said, you always say you have decades of life left to live. These things you're doing now isn't going to stay this way. Especially you take that Venus energy, like, what are you passionate about? I feel like you're really passionate about caring and helping, being caring for people, or helping people, right? That's a very general sense, right? And so once you like understand that heart and passion and say, like, I'm considering that to be a long-term, expression in a sense, and you allow yourself to recalibrate and reconfigure what that means for you and how you can express that, you'll be in a different trajectory, different path. So it's okay if you have to do jobby jobs now and just do the work as you're, allowing yourself to make those realizations. That's okay. You're in a physical world. We got to do what we got to do sometimes, right? So understand that intellectual processing right now. All right. Lisa, my sister Lisa you texted me before, so I know you paid $30, but a card pull for Matthew Mino. Let me shuffle these cards here. Okay, now that I have to flap out of it my way. Maybe because I'm not moving, that's why it's not happening. I love Jay. Jay's type is also upstairs. You be a great life coach type thing. I love that. That should be your title. I'm a life coach type thing. I don't know how that came up. Was that up there the whole time? That you won't be disappointed? Where did that come from? Oh, it was there. Okay, that was weird. Oh my gosh, these cards are shuffling like hard today. Okay, this is again from Matthew Mino. I'm just trying to do the... God, these things are tight. Matthew might be feeling a little suffocated at the moment. A couple things that come up for Matthew. I don't think anyone's hearing Matthew. Matthew's not being heard. I feel like people are speaking for Matthew. And or other people might be overshadowing what he wants to say, but he's not saying it because other people, maybe siblings, are overshadowing him at the moment. So, it's like, you know what, it just reminds me of the prodigal son situation. And I've been in that situation. My brother, for a long time, because my brother was a fuck up, my brother got a lot of the attention just because I was a good kid, so therefore no one really had to worry about me, but I wasn't getting the attention I needed because my brother needed more attention because he was the fuck up, right? So I feel that with Matthew a little bit. I feel like the attention goes elsewhere, but because Matthew can like take care of himself and be in his own energy, that he's not heard enough. So I think this is more actually to maybe the parents of Matthew, that he needs to be heard more, you know, and, you know, still needs nurturing, even though he might seem like he's okay, right? Because I feel like he wants to express something, you know, I feel like he wants to be more expressive or like say what he really feels and needs more of that nurturing. So this is more about actually parenting for Matthew, you know, and I see at some point, you know, not just outside of hobbies, you know, Matthew getting into, you know, something with tech, you know, or architecture, you know, as he gets older. That could even be real estate too, because I see like housing, architecture, stuff that needs to be real estate or using tech for architecture. I just see him going into a direction that way sometime in the future, as he matures. And I heard career pivots. So there might be like pivoting in career at some point, or what he wants to be doing for work. So there might be pivots in that direction at some point, you know, but I feel like he needs to be more creative. Like I think he needs to be more supported in his creative expression so he can find that pathway into whatever that, you know, architecture, home, real estate, whatever, real estate and tech and all that stuff, and being creative, how to do that. There needs to be more of that kind of expression or an assistance to help him on that. But I feel like he needs more encouragement to be expressive. That's what I feel about Matthew. And I think he should not have to take a back seat for other people. So Matthew, if you're listening, you should probably not let other people overshadow you. Okay? And really get yourself into, you know, understanding like what architecture, building things, right? I just get a lot of that energy, housing, homes, and, you know, again, that could be real estate. Like, try to find what you find passionate. Like, what could be a nice game for you to play in this life that could be an actual thing you participate in this life, in your actual life, right? So I don't know if you're into gaming or play gaming right now, or if understand a gaming reference point. Find something that actually you can do in a physical life, in your actual world now, that would be fun, like a game to play that you'd be engaged in every day, you know. So because Ace of Cups too, when I pulled that's all about like a creative mind, you know. And so got to pull it out. And I, you know, as much as like a lot of the generation, your generation, there's a lot of followers, I feel like you don't want to follow the trend. I feel like you don't want to follow the bullshit norm around you, but you kind of don't know what to do because you're saturated with the same bullshit of people your age and stuff. So you just kind of go with the flow. It's okay to stand up against it. Most successful billionaires, celebrities, people who have become very successful said fuck off to people who are doing the mundane, the sheep around, the people doing the same things, right? The innovators always are different and stand above the norm. So don't keep yourself quiet just because of other people and because the majority is acting a certain way. The majority of people are quite stupid, Okay, and I'm saying this to relate to you because I feel like in your mind sometimes you look at things like people are just stupid. So I'm kind of reading your mind on that one a little bit, and there is a little bit of that, but don't let that keep it quiet, right? And more of that will make sense as you get older too. But I definitely find you finding your success, in time, And, 10 of Pentacles is all about, finance too. So you might find a great financial security in what you're doing, right? Financial security in your career, financial security in, how to invest in yourself. So I feel like there will be financial success, as you get older, as you become a grown man. And there's some with architecture, tech, and real estate, something in that space, and that'll make sense then when you get there. So any pulls in those directions, follow them, and you'll find your own set of people, your own community of people, which is outside of what you've been around. You feel bored right now. I feel like you feel bored, and it's like, and I know that you want to get outside of that, but if you're looking where you're looking now, you're not going to find anything exciting until you say, I'm going to do something for myself. Kind of what we were saying before. You may not be so versed into spirituality like I was talking about before, but just in simple terms, like what makes you excited to fuck everybody else. Whatever else thinks or wants what they're doing, what do you find exciting? What do you want to express? That's where successful people drive. Successful people derive from that type of thinking and expression and uniqueness and originality, not from copying people. Even those that copy people might find success, but they crash and burn and lose everything very fast. So I do feel like you think differently, or you think outside the box, and I want you to be encouraged to continue to do so. And I want your those who support you, those who love you in your life, to encourage that and to bring that out of you more. All right, so I went a little longer on that, Lisa, because you paid more, so I went a little longer. So I did double the time to accommodate. All right, so I feel, and that with Matthew was it was obviously the spirits intend to be more motivating for him. So perhaps amp up the motivation with him, and shine more light on that with Matthew. And at the same time, it's good to let your children think, right, on their own, discover their own, but like have that healthy balance of that. The East Coast, we're East Coasters, so we're just kind of like, we'll figure it out on our own. It's like, yeah, that's cool, but certain people are unique where they need an extra bit of that. Nurturing and the extra bit of like pulling out in consideration, especially in today's society, especially in today's culture. Because today's culture is, look at what these children have and these kids have what they're up against, right? So now we need it more than ever because, it's hard to find your way through all this fake news, false information, bullshit politics, fake celebrities, all these people just putting on a show and all the fucking theater. That's not really reality. It's hard for this generation to really find their way through that part. So they need to find that at home, and those that love them to find that sense of safety and security to be able to express. So yeah, Matthew seems like, again, he thinks his head's further out than what most people are, but I want him to understand that too by the support. Okay, who's next? Fakery, right? What do we say, Iggy? The fucking Rockefellers, fakery fucking Janelle Stabe, my husband and I are considering moving in with my parents for a year or two to save for a new home. Should we move or stay in our home? I can't make that decision for you, so I cannot tell you what to do, right? So I can't say do this or do that. I can tell you how it will pan out. Yeah, it's not my job to tell you to make decisions. That's like so against the policy of being a reader. We're here to read. We're not here to say, do this. How do I want to answer this question? It's neutral, actually, because I'm sitting on it. It's neutral. I mean, again, if you move with your parents, you save money, it's fine. If you don't, then I feel like you'll still be able to purchase a home. So it's very preferential. I don't get opposition or a negative pull either way. You know, intellectually, it's like, yeah, well, if you move in, if you put with your parents and save money, fine. I don't feel like there'd be an opposition to anything. I don't feel like there'd be so much drama. You know, that would be more. I would say, I think it'd be more uncomfortable for your husband in that process of it would make him very antsy. You know, he wouldn't be able to accept the fact that he'll be living there. So it would be, I think that moving your parents might cause a rift in your relationship, actually. And this is specific. I'm not saying generally speaking. Specifically, it might put a rift because your husband might have a problem that having to deal with the fact he has to do that. You know, your parents would seem like they wouldn't be necessarily an issue. They're probably like, okay, it's cool, it's great, you know, it's all good, and so they feel like they'd be pretty laid back and chill. But I think it might trigger your husband. You know. But, you know, if you decide to go in that direction, then, you know, make sure that you're consoling him. Hey, just for a temporary period of time, we're doing this, we're saving money, look at the money we're saving, just be more uplifting. And if you don't decide to, and you stay in your own home, well, then, again, you can see what kind of profits you can make on your house as well. And is that saving so necessary? You know what I'm saying? So, but, again, it reads neutral. Like, either way, I think it would be, you'll get the home that you want either way. Even though it seems like it makes more sense to save money for a little bit of time. But the only thing I can say to you is that you select the option, but the option, again, might put a rift on your relationship when you move in with the parents. I think your parents will be chill, but your husband will just drive him nuts to have to suck that up, so to speak. Okay? But either way, the house is coming, because I pulled the 4 of Wands in that. So either way, I mean, the house is coming either way. So that's a good sign either way. That, yeah, you'll find the house either way. It's all good, I would say. That could be the best type of read too, because it's all good, you know. Let me just check out PayPal real quick. See, the flap's coming down again, and I'm not even really moving. Imagine when I'm walking around, I'm in the car, the thing is, it was windy today, it was all on my face, and I don't like a glued back look. So maybe next time I'll just get a shorter cut. Maybe I'll do like a spiky cut next time. I don't know. We'll see. When I get my new piece, we'll see. Okay. Let me just see who is. Let me log into my PayPal. Sorry, guys. It takes time because then, you know, they log you out if you don't spend much time. So I just want to look at the PayPal and go in order. Okay, here we go. We have a wonderful question from Mrs. Beth L. We love Beth. We love Beth's questions. We're all invested in Beth's saga and Beth's soap opera. So, all right, Beth, the question is, a creepy older woman who stares a lot at my boyfriend gives me thoughts of maybe they've hooked up before. Is that true or no? I've asked him and he said no. Can I believe him? Let's see about this saga. Creepy older woman. No. No, I mean, I don't know if you could believe him with everything he says, but I don't feel this case that the particular individual you're talking about, I don't feel like that was a connection. You might be more sensitive. I just think that's just how she looks. You know, some people have poker face. I think she's just always like kind of like, you know, but I also feel like that she may have heard things about him, you know, so I think she's more, there's gossip or something, and she's kind of like looking and responding to like what she's heard, you know, or the gossip she's heard, you know, but I just hear kind of like doing that with everybody. And I think because of you, when you know someone looking, you're responsive, so you're just like, and then she goes back and returns. So I think you're amplifying people's energy and responses because you look back like, what's going on? So no, not this particular individual. You can believe him on this one, but I wouldn't believe him on any other things though, so easily, you know. Like I said, this person doesn't feel so much like they've been around a lot, even though they might have maybe, you know, had interactions with people in your community, but I don't feel like that, you know, he's been around that much like that, you know, so in this case, I feel like you could believe him. He's actually one of the better ones, actually, that I've read. That's not saying a lot because of the options you had before, but I think he's a lot of better ones. you know, so than what I've read before. So in this case, yes, he's telling the truth. Let me see, Nina. Just by the way, guys, I go in order from for the reading. So next is Anna. I'll just say I have Anna, then Kelly, then Jai is next. So right now Anna is up. So again, guys, I go in order. It's first come, first serve here, and sometimes people place their sessions before I even come on live. So, and it's been quiet the past month or so because of everyone's tired and just catching it later. But when a normal circumstances, when we have, you know, the viewers coming in at the same time, people start like sending questions in like hours before. So yeah, it is first come, first serve. But I did get, again, right now we're doing Anna. Next is Callie, which is a live video, and then the last one I have here is Jai. So perhaps I should do something. I don't know how I can do that. I just had a team of people that I can actually put the list of like who's up. You know what I mean? Like I got to think about something like that. I'm trying to hire Nina more full time. So Nina, maybe I have to hire you for that too, with the mods, right? Nina's gonna be cutting up my clips for me, which she did, and that was a success. So I want to get Nina more engaged in helping me to make things better. So maybe I'll find a way to where when the questions come in, I can get a list on my screen here, and then, or I'll just kind of announce it or something. So, all right, card pull for Anna. I also want to redo my overlays. Like I just was like, I want to change a lot of how I'm doing it. Like there needs to be an upgrade. So I even change the look of my live readings sign. But I maybe decide to put it as a banner at the bottom. Maybe I don't need the chat window up here. You know, you guys are watching live chat. Why do I need it on my video screen here? I'm sure the people who are replaying it are not really paying attention to what's on the. So those are things I'm like thinking of just doing a facelift, as I did here too. I shaved the beard. That's the Aqua in me. We always got to change something. You need to like evolve. It's very Leo trait too. Leos are the same way. Leos like to change and do something new. We're the same way. All right, Anna C. Okay. Oh, thank you, Kelly. I do own it. It's just my dad was saying like he wants to. My dad said it bugs him when I always have that hair there because my dad's OCD. So it's kind of a joke. But I tell my dad like I can't stop it. I can't. So I just learned to just accept it right now. It's the way it was cut. Some people like it though. My dad's being playful. Okay, Anna's got a lot of reversals here. I need to make sense of this here. Let me just reshuffle these cards. Anna, there's some scattered energy with you. I have to reshuffle. I'm going to pull out a symbol card here. I don't want to overly read this because there's some scattered energy here. Because it shouldn't take this long for me to shuffle a card. You know. Okay. All right. I'm sure most people didn't even notice it. You know, my dad and I have that funny eye with each other. I don't want to read this. This for some reason the read on Anna feels very difficult tonight. So I'm going to take that energy, Anna. I saw Anna. You might be overcomplicating things. I'm just going to say this because the read to pull was too overly complicated. The cards seem very fussy. The cards are very kind of schizo right now of saying like, you know, stop looking around for things, look within, you know, just the generalizations we say about spirituality, you know, but then there's also movement. So you might be being too fussy right now, like getting things moving, getting started. What's next? To say, like, just take a chill pill on that. Take a step back. Like you're being too fussy, hands-on too much, and I mean that figuratively, hands-on too much. Like just get your hands off of things, let things breathe a little bit, right? So this is more of an emotional read. because I feel like once you do, then you'll see things are moving. Things will be going in the direction that you're making decisions. Things are happening. You're aligning with things. You're just putting too much pressure and too much scattered energy on the way you're thinking right now. But that's most humans, right? We all go through that situation at times, right? So it's nothing that's unique to you, but this is a phase that you're in that we want to get you out of and say, just stop being so fussy. Stop trying to look beyond all the time and say, what's here? Give yourself some patience. Give yourself some time to allow things to unfold in your life. Give yourself some time for things to read what's actually life is telling you, figuratively and literally, right? Then you'll feel better. Motion, momentum, more clarity. God, these dogs are barking. It bugs me when they're barking on the live show. Hold on a sec. Let me yell at them. I had to mute my microphone so you guys didn't hear me yell at these dogs. Okay, so that's more of an emotional thing. It's like soothe yourself down. The more you live in this kind of like, what's next? What do I do? And I don't like all that, hesitation, energy, and that like you're not seeing things clear. It's just giving more anxiety. It's making you scattered. You're not gonna see things. Just take a chill pill. Relax. Understand. Just say, all right, I don't have to solve it right this moment. Okay, and that just chill. See how that just calming that energy, like manipulate the energy. All right, no more fussing. All right, I'll figure it out in time. See the difference of mode? Then you can just like start hearing things. You start hearing yourself better. Because I'm like, man, that energy's like, just like stop thinking. I just felt this energy, like this and that. What about this? What about this? What about that? So you're just gonna emotionally burn yourself out, and then something else will force you to just take a chill pill. Simple message, but it might be difficult to execute. Reading for my sister Carrie and myself Kelly. Okay, Kelly, I don't understand what you're doing here. So, Nina, ask Kelly. She just says reading for her sister and herself. I'm not doing like a full on reading. So, the live video is like a couple questions on live video through me. It's not like a full reading for two people. So, can we clarify what you're wanting on this for Kelly? So the live video is like you come on live, ask me a couple questions. I'm not reading two people, like, you know what I mean, on the live show. It's just because of time and just I'm back to back with that. So let me know what you're wanting, and then we'll do that, and then we'll get you on. And in the meantime, I'll answer Jai's question, and then we can figure it out. But I'm doing one person at a time. I'm not doing two people at a time on video. I'm just doing one at a time, couple questions where I can, be face to face with you, and that's what we're doing at the live video for this format. I'm usually not fond of doing multiple people at a time. So even just doing back to back in a collective like this is the most I'd go. So, okay, really quickly. So figure that out so we can get that good for Kelly, Nina, if you can, and then we will do this. Okay, for Jai. Jai says, hope you're well. Want to get a read on a girl I'm getting serious with. Her name is Vani. I never experienced this type of connection. I think it could be the one, and she's expressed the same. Do you see this solidifying? It is almost summer. I'm just thinking back the reads that I've said before. I remember saying there's going to be 2 ones before you meet one that will be long term. So you did have 2 connections before, and then this one comes in. So let me read that though. And I'm gonna be honest. I'm not gonna give you the future outcome. I'm gonna tell you like yay or nay about it, right? So I think this is, I feel like, look at this great card, 2 of Cups. That's a partnership, right? So this is something to be built on. I think this is the one after the 2 that I was talking about that could be long-term and longevity. I am not going to tell you if it's the one or not. It's premature. No need to know that about that right now. And you don't want to dive into that so quickly, because that means that you both are looking to be codependent. I need to find the one. I found the one. Like, don't take that course of energy, because that creates codependency. Like, I need someone now, so I met the one. And usually those don't end very well, because they build up, and then there's like that codependency, and then explodes. don't go that direction with the one energy. Right? Understand, like, I like this energy. This feels good. She feels good. And lead it well so it doesn't create this codependency and all that, you know. So think of that context. But this is the one I feel like is a connection that will be more consistent that I said after the two. So I would go forward with it. But go with ease. Don't make this impulsive. Don't make this like so all full force right now. Create a pace with this and tell her about the pacing. Say, look, we got to take our time on this. Look, we want to understand, you know, where we're at, and so, and we have all the time in the world to figure this out. No rushing here, you know, and just engage in that way. That will help it so it doesn't like explode and burn out and then end, you know. So engage with this. Take your time with it, you know. But yeah, it feels like, you know, I mean, she's definitely looking for someone. Right. But that's okay. But I want you to be more navigating the fact of she'd be looking for someone, but also she can also fall in love in the process with the right person and understand that, you know, you are patient with her. Right. And that you're not leaving, but you're patient, but you bring that balance, and then she can mature too. So yeah. Yeah. So it actually is in alignment to my predictions. So, I remember I said, like, I didn't really see it happening till, like, you know, by 2026. But I said, but you can, you know, if you took my advice, you can make that sooner. So it seems like you did take my advice. So it is sooner. And this is the one after the two. So bueno. Good job. But again, so it doesn't explode and burn out and, you know, burst out quickly. Take your pacing on this. Don't rush into the fantasy of it. Enjoy this partnership of getting to know each other and this in interaction. Okay. Okay, let me go back here and see if my question's answered. Why are you all shook up? Why are you shook up, James? What's going on? What are you shook up about? Did I miss something here? I've been clearing all day, so I look over. Okay. Yeah, Jay, if you take it slow, yes, and you can nurture that, and you'll nurture, because she has to understand that she won't be abandoned, but she also can be present, because I feel like she has abandonment issues. Okay, and so we have abandonment. She has abandonment issues, then, you know, then that can cause some. Just understand that. Okay, understand that. Okay, but okay, but Callie, but you know, is your sister? Are we doing a live video with her? What are we doing? Do you have questions? And she has to have questions too. Like, I don't just do general reads on a live show, you know, and in a full session I can like hop in but for live show gotta have questions. So is there questions that she has, and is she doing live video, or are we doing it through the chat? How are we doing this? Good for you, Jai. Learn the nurturing of the process, you know, and understand the engagement and the growth of relationship, so it doesn't burn out, like I said. But yeah, Kelly, I just need to know so I can proceed with my live show. Does she want to do video? We're doing questions to the chat, and she has to have specific questions. Perfect. Yeah, can we get those questions in? Does she have questions? Because, you know, it seemed before it was kind of like whatever I felt. It's like I don't. On my live show, I need someone with questions. We come on and we keep it kind of swift and smooth as I'm getting my earpiece ready. So how are we proceeding? I'll put the link in here. So go, if you're on your Venmo, I'm going to send a link to click on. Venmo's so odd sometimes. Okay, there we go. And I don't post the link until I have you on, because because people will tend to click on the link too soon, premature. So the link, we send the link when it's your time to come on. So I'm just reading some of your questions here. And when you're ready, then you call in for the link. So, because I've sent the link and people call in the middle of that, and it's like I always say when it's your turn, the link comes in and we call in. So I sent the link. So have your sister, because this will be the last read. So I'll wait around a little bit, but have your sister call in now. Click the link and have questions available for me to tap into, and we'll proceed. Let me just make sure there's no other person here before we do something else, which will be I'm going to do. I don't think the last week I did a sound bath with Lafayette, so I'll do a sound bath, Lafayette sound bath too. Closing tonight. It's been a couple weeks too since. Okay, we have another PayPal. I'll do that now while we're waiting. Angie Russell, card pull. Okay, well. Yeah, so link was set. Have her call in and make sure she has questions, and we'll knock it out. That was quick. Let me just confirm that, Angie. Do I do cover songs? I've done a few cover songs. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Did I do one? I'm trying to think if I did one recently. A long time ago, I did like Wrecking Ball or something. So, okay, she's calling now. I'll save the card pull for after this, being that she's calling in on time. So, Angie, we'll have to pause. Okay, let me just get my earpiece. You know, those of you guys have watched me for a while know I can't stand my earpieces. Okay, let me get the volume up, volume down, so there's no echo. Okay, hello, you're on the air. It's the best way I can say that. Hello, can you hear me? Hello. There's no sound here. Yeah, I don't hear sound.
Can you hear me now?
There we go. I hear you. You're in.
Hi,
What is your name, my love?
my name is Carrie.
Okay, Carrie. Nice to virtually meet you. So what questions do you have for me today?
Well, so I came home from work tonight, and my sister's like, "Well, hey, you have a reading," and I'm like, "What?" And so this was all my sister's idea, and
Okay.
I'm all for it. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, honestly, the most obvious questions: love and job.
So we'll do them quickly because of time's sake, of course, because that could be a full on session, as you know. But we'll give you the kind of the tidbits, especially with I'll start with love and see that aspect and what you're doing and not doing and all that great stuff. So give me a couple of seconds. Let me just tune in to that.
Oh my God, I'm on the TV right now.
Say hi. Okay. I personally think that you give the benefit of the doubt way too much in relationships. I feel like you get taken advantage of by people and not considered. So I think that you let these energies and these connections linger too long in your life, and that creates congestion. I do feel like there's a past relationship or circumstance or situationship that's lingering energetically within you right now that needs to be purged out of your emotional spectrum. And I think that's really preventing you from latching onto a newer relationship because of that unresolved or what you're still holding on from that past relationship or experience that you've had. A lot of times we hold on to circumstances, not the person. So I think a lot of this is circumstantial. And I think that's what's really blocking you in your love arena right now. I don't know if you've, because I feel like there's a financial issue or something financially that happened with a past relationship or that's caused you to go to some sort of financial reconsideration or you've been taken from financially. I think there's some sort of connection between your past relationships and finances that need not to be intertwined. So that could be also expressed in so many different ways. Perhaps that, you need someone who is more financially supportive, but also you could support yourself, that there's an even playing field financially. That to me is where I think there's been a lot of the conditional aspects of those relationships where I feel like you are not considered and nor that you are actually being appreciated. And I think that you're still holding on to the essence of such that prevents you from actually moving on to relationships now and to better relationships. So that's still that funky energy of the past still lingers. So instead of I call we don't want a Febreze watered down fart. We don't want to just spray Febreze. We want to say no. I'm letting that energy out and go. Because that energy to me feels manipulative. Right? Passive aggressive. It feels like it knows how to trigger you to have empathy. Like it feels all that type of energy of that. I feel like you've been played emotionally in that sense, right? The difficulty with that connection is that I don't think he's so overt doing it, but it's obvious, but you can't really call it out because it's not so obvious. So there's more of that kind of crazy energy it brings out of you. You know what I mean? So it makes you doubt yourself, question yourself. And it's like, no, the guy's just a manipulative, passive aggressive douchebag, right? So we got to let go of that circumstance because not all people are that way or out to get you. But I think the problem is you're not nurturing yourself enough to say, I deserve better, but I also deserve this in my relationships too. I show up, I need this type of showing up in my life, right? And that's something you have to like make a reality for you. So that's what the past is. The present is understanding this, but let's look future and see if there's anything coming in. And if I don't, and understand not everything's predictable. So you could be on track to meeting someone, but it also won't necessarily show up in a read if you go to a read with a specific reader. I'm clear enough to understand if it's not there, to understand the time frame of why and when that would actually occur and manifest. Other readers are not. They're just like, I don't see anything. And so, but let me look more future on that, because you're going to have to purge that. Honestly, that energy just lingers, you know. Did he have a son, by the way, that previous relationship, or was there a child involved with that, or a connection? Maybe not your own child, but like a connection with because I feel a connection with a boy or something like that, or a younger male that kept you connected with that relationship or something too, or the hopes of or something. I just feel like a younger male energy that you know.
Well, I mean, that's a little question.
I know, I was trying to, because it feels loaded to me too. I'm like, how do I pose the question? But I feel like there was like, this younger male energy was like kind of like the glue or kept you there or something. I don't know. I'm just trying to.
In the relationship, yeah. I mean,
yes.
No, not necessarily.
Let me sit on that for a minute, because I don't even know how to ask a question, because I'm like, I see this younger male energy trying to glue things together. So I don't know if that's figurative. I don't know if it's literal, or it's actually just, you know, maybe for me, I feel like he used people in a sense to also, and maybe it's the fact that he might have been talking in other people's ears and using people that were not on the same playing field to manipulate you as well. Maybe it's just in the environmental circumstances, because I just keep seeing someone being in the middle of you two. And so maybe it's not so literal for me. Maybe it's just the fact that he's just playing immature games at that point, at that time, you know, and just having people play sides, you know. And I just want you to understand, like, you know, it's coming out very overt for me, the energy that you might have maybe just swept it under a little bit, but this is what was going on. So it's like, it's a symbol, like when, you know, two parents use a child to put the child in the middle. I got that energy, even though I know there's no shared child, but I think it's more maybe just, I'm getting that feeling because that's just the energy that he was doing, you know.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, moving forward, I didn't really care to go that far with it, but that's just something that you might have to, maybe that'll come, you know, more like, oh, I get why you're saying that. It'll become to more fruition of this, but
more for us to process tomorrow too.
Yeah, because again, I mean, you probably weren't expecting to hear all that, so it's kind of like, wait a minute, okay, and I have to process this, and I wasn't really conscious to me, so there's a lot of that kind of that happens too with this type of information. I'm looking future, and I'll show you the cards. Cards are saying you're stuck in the past. I mean, this is the past card, and Wheel of Fortune says once you get over the past, you know, and move on from the past, then you have everything that you want. This is a card of abundance and flourishment and connection and connectivity, you know. But right now they're saying you're just pondering. What do I do? And you know, but I put so much energy into this, but you know, nothing's really happening. This is also with career as well. So, you know, I feel like you have a very caretaking, nurturing energy, right? I'm surprised you didn't become a therapist. I mean, you could have been a great therapist if you decided to go in that direction.
Seriously.
You know, so I really feel that you probably might reconsider that, even though, you know, you might say, but it's late in my life. You might consider doing something in that avenue and changing in that avenue at some point. and doing some work in that essence, right? So I do feel like you need to find where your heart is speaking first with your expression of hobbies and interests, and that will shape and refine your career focus. But all that stuff is on pause because, like I said before, this past energy is lingering, and that saturates the essence of your whole life. But when you actually put it aside, you're gonna see, I have what I need. I have the community of people around me. I'm meeting people that are fun and exciting, and I actually feel like I'm moving forward in a direction of things I wanted to do, but I'm doing it in a different format now. So I feel like I'm expressing myself. My voice is heard, right? And so I feel like that's coming, because with the Wheel of Fortune comes is saying you're ending that cycle. The cycle is beginning, and perhaps your sister felt that intuitively. So I can actually put that in gear and solidify that for you. That yes, this new cycle is beginning. Let's own this new cycle now. And by consciously purging that past. So I think that I really feel like prediction wise too, like relationship comes in probably like mid of 2026 for me. So it's not so far out, but it's not so close either. But these psychic timing on things are kind of relative based on how you're progressing and evolving. You could accelerate that. But I think right now you have to understand the comfort of friendship, the comfort of family right now, and enjoy what the value means of those who love you and why. Right? And just revel in that right now. I feel like life has been telling you that and showing that to you, right? And so that's building up self-value. And I feel like the person that, comes in your life is so fun. Like, freaking, you need someone with a sense of humor, or you need someone that doesn't give a fuck about what people think. You need someone who can shoot the shit with anybody. So someone that is gonna come that life, and they do I see either like boating, or they have a boat, they like being on water, or like travel. So I see a lot of travel with this person too. And they're just so relaxed. It's not about like circumstances with them. It's all about just having a good time and enjoying life, because they've been there and done that too. I feel like he was divorced, went through divorce, and it's like, God, I've been through all that bullshit. Like, I'm done. I don't take things seriously anymore. I just want to engage and have companionship. And he does have a romantic spin to him too. He might be slightly older than you to, but still age appropriate in a sense, right? Right. But he's going to bring out that traveling essence out of you too. So, and this is really random too, because I feel like you might even change your hairstyle or do something with hair. So you might even decide, I'm going to change my hairstyle, or maybe your diet something different. There's a change coming, and it might be something with hair too. So
okay, I'm not opposed to that.
Yeah, I mean, not that your hair doesn't look good now. Your hair looks great now too. But you might just say, like, I feel different. I'm doing something completely different to express myself. That's when you're embarking on the journey of like love is right around the corner. Sure. Because you're going to feel that vibrant energy. So, but get this caretaking energy of nurturing you first now, then understand how you again, you could have been a great therapist, but how can you express that energy of helping others or leading others now? Or it could be a charitable cause that you participate in that's very much fulfilling of the soul. That resurrects love. That resurrects that Venus energy I was talking about in the beginning. That resurrects all of that and brings that change. It says, fuck you, past. You're stale. There's nothing to resurrect from you. We're good, right? And you'll flourish from that. So, yeah, mid 2026 seems to be that time, but like the time is flexible. It could happen sooner. Usually I give a time frame, but I don't feel like it'll happen any later than that. But you could if you sabotage yourself, so that's up to you. But I don't think with the help of your sister that your sister would allow that anyways.
No, hell no.
You know what I'm saying? So, and you do have really quickly, there's a mother energy and spirit too that's connecting with you as well. And so she's been trying to connect with you. So you might have a communication through a dream state soon. Okay. And there's something with rose petals too. So there'll be a connection with rose petals and roses as a validation after the fact that she's connecting with you, this mother energy. Okay.
Yeah, you got my sister over here crying, but yes, I totally understand and get what you're saying.
Okay. Well, again, accept this new change. Let mama come in and help guide you. She'll visit in a dream state to confirm and allow her to guide you too. Yeah. Yeah. All right. And she loves you. She's still very proud of you. She says, this is like your mom coming through with this kind of like, but you deserve better. She has this like very forward voice, but you deserve better, so, and she wants you to obtain that, own it, harness it, she loves you both. Pay attention to the number 23 too. It's not going to make sense now, but the number 23 is going to be very significant with her communications.
23. Okay.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you, sweetheart.
Okay, you'll understand that after the session. That's more for future insight, okay?
Yes.
You got this. All right, my love?
I look
Good to see
forward
both of you.
talking to you again, Scott. Thank you so
Good to see you. Have a wonderful night, you guys. Much love.
All right.
Blessings.
Much love.
Bye. Ciao. Okay, that was the last, but that was actually the best was for last, actually, because that was in person. We love the in person. I love seeing your faces. And that's, look, every read that people experience could be helpful to the next person and whoever's, experiencing what they're experiencing, and understand, like, it's a good thing for you to learn from other people's experiences too, because a lot of guys are probably in the same position. Maybe you're over the person, but the circumstance is still lingering and saturating your energy unconsciously. So we all tend to do that at times, especially when we've been duped or deprived or felt like we could have, been handed out more in our lives. So, but that's a natural process. Just make sure you don't stay stuck in that process, right? So, all right. So before we close, I'm going to just do a quick sound bathing with Lafayette. So if you have 5-6 minutes, let's enjoy, kind of unwind. And for, was it Anna that I said that has scattered energy? Anna, maybe just take this time to enjoy the sound bathing energy and see what comes to you, Anna, if you're watching. So enjoy the sound bath and let's see what your spirit is telling you during this unwinding time of process. See what your soul's telling you as you're letting your mind just kind of like settle down. Okay, and whatever thoughts you're getting in meditation, address them because those things are unresolved. And so if the mind is doing its random things, just let your mind do its random thing until it exhausts itself and just like, okay, just it's saying different things, cool, all right, we'll just and let it just drift off. You don't have to try to control it. Just be conscious. Like, my mind is all over the place, but like, hey, let's just chill out, right? So let's take that time now for 5 minutes and I'll be back before we close. Isn't that just amazing? Wonderful tone for passion, creativity, seduction, chill, and control, right? Vibes. So, just continuing, we had a couple late questions that came in. And so, Angie, I pulled cards for you before, and the Four of Wands, Hermit, Queen of Wands. What does that mean, right? So, to me, the Four of Wands has different meanings for me. It can be marriage. It can mean it's my real estate card, it's my new property card, my new home card, right? So, for me, it's like really giving a pull on like new home energy, right? It doesn't necessarily mean a move, but the emphasis with the Queen of Wands is like creating your own, a newer environment with home. You know what I'm saying? That could be that maybe you start like doing different design work with your home or just changing the energy. That could mean a new home too, but you know, for me, it's just more focusing on like creating that new home energy for you. And with the Hermit card is saying that like, you know, maybe spend more time in that seclusion of like the energy of your home, like right now, just a little bit of time, not a long time, just a little bit of time. But understand that you're dumping your energy into your space, and that is your space of well-being, right? And when you do this, I feel like that will give you more excitement to move forward. And whether it is the new home or not, or whatnot, or just a new phase, they're saying this is the emphasis right now to focus on. And, you know, and being creative, because Queen of Wands is a very creative energy and charged energy, but it's a noble energy, woman by the countryside, you know, in a sense, but like creating her environment for herself. And so it's like, that's the stage to be in, right? In that new home energy. So, that makes sense. You just moved last summer and my basement flooded in April. Okay. So that makes sense why I didn't feel necessarily a move, because you really did, but more like the new home energy now, just making sure like you're putting your energy to it. You know, floods to me are very symbolic, right? Floods, you know, and yeah, it's just shit that happens with the pipes and all that. But when people experience that, it also comes at a significant time in one's life where people are really just kind of going through almost like a change. You think of a pipe bursting, right? There's like, it's finally releasing stuff. So look at the time that this flooding happened. Perhaps that you're going through a major release in that stage, or needing to release in your life, right? So that's why I feel like now it's good to create this foundation and this new home energy, and create that new home and being creative how you do so, and get that newness of individual expression in your home energy right now, and clearing that past energy and releasing, you know, which will help you. Home is your foundation. Home is your hub. So that'll help you to extend outside of your home network. Okay. Last but certainly not least, and hopefully, Steph, you're still in the house, is Steffi, right? Yes. Card pull. Of course, Steph. You do a card pull toward the end. You know I like questions. A card pull toward the end. I knew you were going to do that to me. Another card pull at the end. It's like, sometimes they take longer than just a question at times, because it's like I have to come up with what you're wanting, and so it's like, hey. How funny is this? You also got the Four of Wands. I just shuffled this. But for me, the Four of Wands for you, Stephanie, means that it's a new property, new contract, or new, because this is more for you in the real estate avenue. So it might be a new contract, a new property, investment or sale in a sense. And so I think that you should stop trying to always pick all the time. Sometimes just maybe settle. The Two of Swords in reverse, it's like stalemate. Like take the opportunity, right? Take the deal. Stop trying to wonder. So obviously there's progressions, but that feels like a new. To me, the Four of Wands for you when it comes up is more about a real estate investment and deal, a new property in a sense. And again, relationships is still around the corner. We've been preparing you for like 6 months about this relationship aspect around the corner. So make sure you're not pushing that out. But I feel like, in order to get you prepared and prepped the right way, it's going to take some time. So we've been doing that kind of very consciously preparing you. It's around the corner. Stephanie, just try to get you, motivated to open up to love. But I'm still getting a very much connection of that, So absolutely. So, and it's funny. So that's funny stuff that you got that kind of deal, right? And then here you are with your business, account. How appropriate. So that's good. Don't overthink these deals. Okay. Good. You're not going to be single forever, but don't overthink these deals. There's one around the corner that might be a new investment, new real estate investment. or connection or contract or whatever the case is. Don't overthink it. Okay. All right, guys. Well, it's a pleasure. It's always good to be with you every Thursday. And if you guys missed Leading Out Loud last night, it's every Wednesday night now. Go check out the replay. We talked about 5D. We got into a little about, because Unite the Light happened. I wasn't there. I just popped in for a cameo during a intermission period, but just got to go to that, how it was a little bit. And then, but mainly the emphasis was kind of 5D perspective, how to get there, and what does it even mean. So we discussed that yesterday. So check that out. And we'll see you next week for, again, every Wednesdays I will be on Leading Out Loud, and also Thursday night every time I'm here. So again, I always ask you guys suggestions on topics. So if you have any things you say you want me to talk about or want my perspective on, let me know. Leave it in the comments, not in the chat, but in the comments. And I love to hear. You guys are usually so open, don't care, but like sometimes it's like, hey, Scott, like I would love to hear this, So yeah, and then we can go from there. So I'm thinking of better topics. I'm going to want to reformat things like I said before. I'm starting with the faces. I can see by my live reading signs. So I might start reorganizing things, and it's time for like a fresher. I kind of freshened up the opening a little bit too. Maybe to cut it down now, but we'll see. And so any suggestions is welcome. I also want to maybe have people on to chit chat. There's a couple people I talked about wanting to work with. Maybe have them on for chit chats on the show, and just make it more like a variety show. With live readings, I don't know. We'll see. I'm just letting you guys know. I'm thinking about how I want to evolve the show and definitely expand this community. So I appreciate every single one of you guys. I'll leave you off with my long commercial. This way you guys can still chat in the room. And so if you guys want a one-on-one session with me, scottcruzpm.com, do live readings. Again, the live readings is extensive what we can do in my live readings. So this is all descriptive on my website, and we'll talk about it in the commercial as well. Mediumship sessions, if you want to connect with someone who's crossed over, that's also available. Just make sure it's been at least 60 days since they've passed. And also my intuition builder session, which is helping you to develop your own abilities. And now that Unite the Light's over, I got to talk about picking up my Psychic 101 course again. I'd moved, there's so much going on, so I paused that. I know I mentioned that to you guys. So I get that back in the works when I'm over this burnout and things have cleared out. We have more space and time. We get that course back on the road, back in gear. But in any event, you are all the gods and goddesses of your own myth. Let me get the commercial ready. What do you want to create? Have a wonderful rest of your night. I will see you all next week. Ciao.
I just want to say thank you, Scott, for all of your reassurance and guidance. I had a mediumship reading, and you brought my uncle and my mother-in-law forward. And I mean, there was things that you said that nobody would know. Like, it was so accurate. It was insane. And I appreciate the closure that I got and the peace that I felt. And I really appreciate even more that you are a genuine person who truly cares. That made the biggest difference for me. Thank you, Scott.
Hey, I just wanted to take a minute to thank Scott Cruz. He made such a huge difference in my grief. I'm a little bit emotional because he just said things about my husband and my papa that there's no way anybody could have known or guessed. I know my children were skeptical. Scott told me they would visit me, and they both are together, and they have both visited me together. He told me things about my grandchildren, nicknames. There's nothing he could have known beforehand. So I definitely appreciate him, and if you're having any issues, struggling through grief and needing some guidance or just needing to feel okay, talk to Scott.
Hey there, my name is Chad, and over the past 6 or 7 years, I've probably had about 4 or 5 readings with Scott Cruz. He brought up personal things that I don't know how nobody else would know but me, and he brought them up, which was just incredible. And one thing I will say is Scott tends to talk fast, so take notes. I've taken notes since the very beginning because sometimes they don't make sense. He'd said something, it didn't make sense to me. And then a year and a half later, after I had spoken to someone and I reread those notes, I was like, oh wow, Scott nailed it back then. Didn't make sense then, but it made sense as time passed. I was able to find something out. It was just incredible. And the last thing is what I like about Scott is he doesn't seek out fame or fortune from this. He genuinely wants to help people. I thoroughly recommend an appointment with Scott. Go ahead and book it. You won't be disappointed.
Scott Cruz is popularly known for his life-changing one-on-one readings to also guide in your soul ascension journey. With life readings, get insight into your relationships, career, health, trauma healings, past life regressions, and more. Want to connect with a loved one who's transitioned? Scott's mediumship session can be the gateway to you and your loved ones in spirit, bridging the gap between the physical and the spiritual realm. If you want to enhance your own psychic ability, Scott's Intuition Builder session can help expand your psychic and mediumship abilities. So sign on to scottcruzepm.com to book your own personal session today.